Hey, here we are back with Disney Frozen 2. Ah! My kids are doing that all day at preschool. Ah! I don't go to bed with that in my head. All right, here we go. Chapter 10. By the way, I like to dance to Frozen 2 with the kids. They think it's pretty funny. All right, chapter 10. Noticing the salamander's reaction, Elsa asked, "You hear it too?" She had thought she was the only one who heard that voice. She wondered what else she and the little creature might have in common. "Somebody's calling us. Who is it? What do we do?" The salamander hopped out of her hand and scurried to the top of a large boulder. It looked out into the distance for a moment. Then it locked eyes with her. "Okay, keep going north," she said, understanding the fire spirit. The salamander's skin glowed brightly for a moment. It paused before turning away. Elsa watched as her new friend leaped off the boulder, briefly suspended in the air before landing on the ground. The salamander scampered off, disappearing into the brush. Anna, who had been looking for Elsa, was overjoyed to see her. She ran to her and drew her into her arms, hugging her tightly. Elsa hugged her back, relieved to see that her sister was okay. "Elsa! Oh, thank goodness!" cried Anna. "Anna," said Elsa, holding her close. Then she pulled away and looked at Anna with a frown. "What were you doing? You could have been killed. You can't just follow me into fire." There they are, reuniting with a little hug and a "You don't want me to follow you into fire. Then don't run into fire." "You're not being careful, Elsa," Anna said angrily. Kristoff walked up with Sven behind him. Olaf perched on Sven's back. Kristoff watched the girls from a distance, concerned. Elsa could see the worry on Anna's face. "I'm sorry. Are you okay?" she asked. "I've been better," said Anna. "Wait, I know what you need." Elsa pulled her mother's scarf out of the satchel and wrapped it around Anna's shoulders. The Northuldra, standing nearby, gasped at the sight of it and began whispering to each other. Anna and Elsa looked at them curiously. "Where did you get that scarf?" asked Yelena. "That's a Northuldra scarf," Ryder said, stepping toward them. Oh, here we go. Here's a picture of them. You can see a Northuldra people. "What?" said Anna, confused. The information sent a wave of shock through the camp as the Northuldra continued to whisper, staring at the girls in the scarf. "Scarves like these were given to a child at birth," explained the Honey Marin. "This is from one of our oldest families." Elsa instantly thought of the sculpture of their young father in the arms of the Northuldra girl, the one the wind spirit had shown them. She grabbed Anna's hand, and everyone followed as she led the way out to it. Anna and Elsa stood beside the ice sculpture, looking at it closely. Anna touched the scarf made of ice. Surprised that she hadn't noticed it before, she gently caressed the girl's face with gratitude and respect. They realized they really must be looking at a moment from the past. The scarf was the proof. The Northuldra girl portrayed in the sculpture must have been the reason their father had survived. The scarf had surely been hers. It was staggering to think that the scarf had originally belonged to the girl whose likeness they were staring at, the girl who had saved their father. Anna and Elsa understood that the girl must have given the scarf to their father. Their mother had cherished the scarf not for its beauty, but as a reminder of the girl who had saved her husband and allowed the young king to return home. The Northuldra and the Arendelians stood by, gawking at Anna and Elsa as well as the sculpture. They were stunned that the two opposing sides sides had such a powerful positive connection. They could hardly believe that on that terrible day of battle, a young Northuldra and young Arundelian had shared peace and compassion. Suddenly the wind spirit blew through the trees, creating a beautiful clinking sound. The ice sculptures twinkled and glistened with a magical glow. Owls and other night creatures began to call out, creating a strange, harmonious symphony. Quiet at first and then increasingly louder, the Northuldra began singing along with the night. The Arundelians soldiers stood around the edges on guard, as one at a time each Northuldra placed a hand on the shoulder of the person in front of them, forming a large triangle. Anna and Elsa watched, mesmerized by the soothing music and the motion of the people swaying with the trees. As the Northuldra linked together and joined voices, the forest seemed to respond with an energy that the people could feel on their skin and in their bones. The sound grew in intensity, filling the air with music. Eager to join in, Olaf put one twig hand on Kristoff and one on Sven as he tried to sing along. Yelena, overwhelmed by the beautiful sounds, stood at the front of her people and tenderly looked at Anna's and Elsa's hands in her own. Looking deep into her eyes, she said quietly, "When nature speaks, we listen. We are called Northuldra. We are the people of the sun." The girls nodded. "We will do whatever it takes to free this forest," said Elsa. Anna glanced over at Matthias, who wore an expression of doubt, and to restore Arundel, she said sincerely. Hopeful sounds rumbled from the people. "We're getting out of here," Ryder shouted joyfully. "What?" he said when others around him began to laugh. He turned to Kristoff, who stood next to him. "Some of us were born here. We've never even seen an open sky." Ryder's excitement was contagious, and it spread among the Northuldra and the Arundelian soldiers. "I heard the voice again," Elsa told Yelena with a smile. "We need to go north. The earth giants roam the north at night," said Matthias. "They sleep by day," explained Yelena. "You can leave in the morning." Elsa didn't want to wait. She was too excited, but couldn't put her family or anyone in the forest at risk. So she agreed. She slowly nodded, wondering how she could wait through the night. Chapter 11. Later they gathered at the Northuldra camp for dinner. A lovely fire burned and the atmosphere was cheerful. Everyone enjoyed some peaceful time together, eating and chatting. The mood was high and they all believed that Elsa's presence and the fact that she had been born with magic meant they would soon be out of the enchanted forest. She had to be the one who could free them after all the years they had been trapped. Even Yelena and Matthias managed to avoid bickering with each other. Olaf played with a group of Northuldra toddlers. They surrounded him, having a blast, pulling, chewing on, and rearranging his parts. "Hey, let me ask you," said Olaf happily, "how do you guys cope with the ever-increasing complexity of thought that comes with mature..." One of the kids grabbed Olaf's carrot nose off his face and stuck it straight up his own nose. They all cracked up. "Brilliant," Olaf exclaimed above the laughter. "It is so refreshing to get to talk to folks my own age," he added. Some of the children sucked on Olaf's feet, enjoying the feeling of the cold snow on their gums. No, don't chew on that," said Olaf, trying to pull away. "You don't know what I've stepped in." Anna stood with Matthias, having a bowl of stew under the starless night. Being in a magical forest where the mist blocked out the sky still seemed odd to her, but she noticed how bits of moonlight managed to break through. Shining down, it gave pieces of the forest a beautiful blue and silvery glow. Anna enjoyed talking to Matthias about her father and Arundel. While they chatted, Matthias kept a watchful eye on their surroundings, constantly on guard. Here they are. There's a picture. been a soldier for so many years that it came naturally to him. Plus, he had lived in the enchanted forest long enough to know that unexpected things often happen. Although meeting new people, one who was magical and one who was a talking snowman, was the most unexpected thing that had ever happened, either in the enchanted forest or outside it. He was about your height, said Anna. That tall, huh? Said Matthias, trying to imagine the young prince as an adult. You mean a lot to him. A smile crossed her face as she continued. Whenever we'd get butter biscuits from Blodgett's bakery, he'd say, Lieutenant Matthias could never get enough of these. She laughed at the memory. It's the butter, said Matthias, closing his eyes briefly, recalling the taste of the delicious biscuits melting in his mouth. Then he glanced over at Anna. Hey, tell me, is Halima still over at Hudson's hearth? She is, answered Anna. Really? She married? Anna shook her head. No. Oh, wow, he said, wearing a slightly sad expression. Why doesn't that make me feel better? What else do you miss? Asked Anna. Even though they had been gone only a few days, she was missing Arendelle too. It comforted her to talk about it. My father, Matthias said, looking out into the distance. He passed long before all this. He was a great man, built us a good life in Arendelle, but taught me to never take the good for granted. He cleared his throat and imitated his father's voice as he continued. He'd say, Be prepared. Just when you think you've found your way, life will throw you onto a new path. What do you do when it does? Don't give up. Take it one step at a time. And he began. Just do the next right thing, Anna interrupted. Matthias nodded. Yeah, you got it. Anna smiled. She glanced up when Elsa walked by, talking with Honeymaron. The campfire cracked and popped as Honeymaron and Elsa sat near its warm glow. Tell me about the voice, Honeymaron said as she petted a baby reindeer that had wandered over looking for attention. What makes you so sure they have the answers? Because they speak to a part of me that no one else has ever been able to reach, Elsa responded, holding her hand out for the reindeer to sniff. Honeymaron looked intrigued. What part is that? She asked. The part of me that's magic, Elsa said. Honeymaron thought for a moment. I want to show you something. May I? Elsa nodded, and Honeymaron held up a section of Elsa and Anna's mother's scarf and pointed to the snowflakes that decorated it. She showed her the symbols on the points. Okay, there's a picture of looking at her scarf. Of the snowflakes. You know, air, fire, water, earth, she said, and then brought Elsa's attention to a diamond in the center that connected them all. But look, there's a fifth spirit, said to be a bridge between us and the magic of nature. A fifth spirit? Asked Elsa, intrigued. Some say they heard it call out the day the forest fell. Elsa's eyes lit up. Do you think that's who's calling me? Maybe. Alas, only Athohalin knows. Athohalin? Said Honeymaron. Athohalin, Elsa said with a small smile. She could remember her mother saying the same thing when she and Anna were children, asking hundreds of questions. Only Athohalin knows. Their mother had sung a lullaby about Athohalin, and she tucked them into their beds at night. Supposedly it was a mysterious river that had all the answers to questions about the past. As a child, Elsa had wished she could find the river to seek out the answers to her questions. For as long as she could remember, she had wanted to learn more about herself and her magic. Why did she have magical power? Were there others like her out there? And if there were, would she ever meet any of them? In that moment, she realized it was strange, but being in the enchanted forest had made her feel like she was closer to getting some of those answers. Elsa held the scarf to her chest, hugging it close. She could almost hear her mother singing the soothing tune. She began to sing it, and Honeymaron smiled as she sang along with her. She was surprised that Elsa knew it. Why do lullabies always have to have some terrible warning in them? Asked Honeymaron. I wondered that all the time, Elsa said with a chuckle. A distant boom suddenly cut through their laughter, sending a shiver right through Elsa. What is that? She asked Honeymaron. Boom, boom, boom! The ground beneath them vibrated angrily with each noise. Honeymaron's face fell. Earth giants, she said quickly, rising to her feet. And we will press on. We're almost done. Boo, boo, boom! What are they doing down here? Yolanda whispered sharply. She glanced over at Elsa. The ground quaked as the noise got louder and the earth giant stomped closer. A soldier dumped a bucket of water onto the campfire, putting it out and bringing a quick cover of darkness to the area. As the towering earth giants made their way nearer, the ground shook more violently. Everyone scrambled as they desperately tried to hide, ducking behind the trees, boulders, and shrubs, anything they could find. Boom! 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 The earth giants continued stomping their enormous feet, walking until suddenly they stopped. Elsa carefully peeked out from behind the tree to catch a glimpse of them. She could see the staggering silhouette of one of the earth giants' faces breaking through the tops of the trees. His cavernous nostrils quivered and twitched as he sniffed the air. She stepped out cautiously, and the face slowly swiveled toward her. Anna, who was hiding behind a nearby boulder, quickly sprang into action. She grabbed a stick and banged it against a rock, creating a racket. Her plan worked, and the earth giants turned away from Elsa, giving up on her scent. They roared and began trudging directly toward Anna. Without a moment to lose, Elsa reached down and let her magic fly, sending it far into the distance, farther than she had ever before. The earth giants gradually turned their heads and stared inquisitively at the snowflakes bursting in the night sky. They watched for a moment, and then they began lumbering after them. Boom! 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 Everyone stayed still and quiet, waiting until the earth giants had disappeared, and they could no longer hear their heavy footprints. When the coast was clear, everyone came out of their hiding places, breathing sighs of relief. Yolanda swiftly approached Elsa. They sensed you. They came here for you. Elsa nodded. She knew it was true. I could feel them, she said calmly, beneath their rage, wanting help. Oh, here's a picture of an earth giant. Really? Because I've just felt their rage, wanting to kill you, said Anna. Olaf raced over to Elsa's side like a frightened child. He wrapped his twig arms around one of her legs and held on tight. Oh, don't mind me, he said with a weak chuckle. I'm just feeling clingy on account of all the danger. Excuse me, Elsa knew there was no way for her sister to understand, but being in the forest had changed her. She had already faced 3 of the spirits of nature, air, fire, and earth, and from her earlier visions, she knew there were other spirits. She had risen to the challenges of the ones she had met, and even connected with them. Each time, her power had transformed her and made her feel different than before. Elsa trusted in her magic and herself more than ever, and if the other spirits came, she would meet them head on. I'm going now, she said firmly. I need to find the voice. Staying would only put the lives of the Northuldra and Arundelian soldiers at risk, and Elsa refused to do anything that might bring them harm. Anna quickly prepared to leave. She had vowed to stay with Elsa and protect her. There was no way she would let her go alone, no matter what. Standing beside each other, the sisters felt ready to do the next right thing. Hand in hand, they headed north, feeling the strength of each other's love, support, and confidence, ready to face whatever was ahead together. The end. Well, thank you for joining me on this journey through the Enchanted Forest in Frozen 2. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and share and like to support the cause. And thank you very much. Keep on reading. And until next time, it's Crispy Patty.